Hello. Hello, people. Hello. We are here.
Hello, people of the internet.
Yes, my
At least
name's
some of
Card.
us are here.
My name's Cardinal Noir. No, I'm kidding. Yes, people. It is us, the Sci-fi Nerds. We are here today. Unfortunately, as you can see, Donald is not here, so I am taking the reins over tonight as the host. Everybody pray. But so but here we are. For those of you who know, I am Remy.
I'm DJ.
I'm Kyle.
Yes, and we, once again, on the Sci-Fi Nerds. Again, shout out to Donald for not being able to be here with us. Shout out to Nick and Serge and Doris. We dedicate this night to all of you guys. Hopefully, one day you guys can come back and join us. I know Serge was going to join us tonight, but something came up. And I don't know. Hopefully, Nick will come in and surprise us, but we shall see. But tonight, folks, we are going to be talking about Power Rangers, the 2017 film. There's going to be a lot of us to talk about.
The cinematic masterpiece.
Yes, the cinematic masterpiece. It is Power Rangers 2017. The movie's
Hopefully
so
the
good
reboot.
that it bombed, and we never got a sequel afterwards. And it looks like
Yeah.
we're not getting any news about any upcoming sequels or reboots for the Power Rangers franchise. That's gonna be fun. I think. I don't know. I don't keep up with Power Rangers.
There was some talk about I think Disney rebooting it, which
God.
they kind of screwed things up the last time that they ran with it. So
Hmm.
Not
we
Disney.
shall see.
No, don't put Disney in charge of this, please. I do not want Disney in charge of Power Rangers.
Well, Sam Haban or
Or
Saban.
yeah, Saban or something.
Um,
Yes.
I think from what I heard, wants nothing to do with it anymore.
Oh,
So
well,
Oh
he,
man.
so I think like Lucas, he sold the rights.
no.
Right.
Aren't they also teamed up with Netflix too? Where they're like just producing a bunch of shows and movies now on Netflix?
There was a special on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
There was like a documentary about the original, or about some of the tragedies involved with the Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Um, I haven't seen it. Uh, I think I've heard decent things about it, but uh, obviously not too much. So
Yeah.
um,
That sounds interesting though. I would actually like to check out a documentary on Power Rangers.
yeah,
I always like to check out documentaries on certain shows and movies just because it's interesting.
yeah, it's. Uh, it, I would say that uh, the stories that come out from some of the former Power Rangers casts and stuff has been pretty interesting from
Yeah.
what I've heard over the years and stuff. And,
What I also looked up is that I think the reason that they did not really do a sequel is because of the failed advertising of the reboot, and despite the mixed reviews, really that's what really made the movie
all it
did not
comes
get a
down
sequel.
for movies, all it comes down to is how much money did it make?
Yeah.
Did it
That's
break
right.
a certain level?
Yeah. They have
If
to. I think they have to at least break even to have any chance of like having any follow ups. Which this one did not break even.
yeah, so whatever budget is broadcast for a movie, you basically have to double that, because when they announce a budget for a movie, they're not including the marketing budget. So you have to double it to account for whatever advertisement, posters, and merchandising and all that kind of stuff. And you have to remember too, whatever money a movie brings in, half of it goes to the theaters. So say a movie has a budget of 150 million. For them to officially break even, they have to get like 600 million, because
Right.
they're going to have 150 million for advertisement at minimum, not including any reshoots or anything like that. And then, like I said, the theaters are going to take half of that. So, so if they don't, so even if the movie costs 150 million and they made 150 million at at the box office, that's a failure.
That's very true because there are many advertisements from movies that try to appeal to many audiences of all ages, and depending on what they achieve with all these commercials and any sponsors, they tend to like try to get everyone to go see the movie.
Usually,
Yeah.
That 2017 was kind of the end of them mostly being general. After that, they started to focus on specific groups and marketing towards certain demographics and things like that, more so than they had in the past. Um, but one of the biggest problems with this movie is it's basically like an Elseworlds story for the Power Rangers
Yeah, it kind of feels like that.
Because it none of the characters match what everybody knew the Power Rangers to be.
Mhm.
Yes, Billy was still
Exactly.
the smart one, but they changed they changed the races for some of the characters. They changed all their personalities, and then like you know, which isn't a bad thing.
Yeah. Well, I don't blame them for changing the race of some of the characters because they had that issue in the original Power Rangers where they had the black guy as the Black
That
Ranger,
had
and then they had the
nobody
Asian
cared.
as the Yellow Ranger.
Nobody cared
Yeah.
that like literally the first Black Ranger recently came out in an interview and he said like kids were looking up to me as a superhero. They didn't care that I was black. They just thought I was cool, and I thought it was cool that I had that was the color I wanted to be. I wanted the black suit.
Oh.
So, like they
So
didn't
was it the executives that made that change?
what for the new
Yeah.
movie.
No, for back then. Like if if they didn't care about what color they were in, but how come then they changed it afterwards? Because I thought it was like something like that. Was the
No, so when the Power Rangers originally before it officially started, there was originally a different actress for the Yellow Ranger, and I think she was Hispanic.
Yeah, okay.
Oh,
but
Becky G.
No,
Huh?
Oh no,
the
I think
original.
I'm the original. I must be thinking the new one. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I thought
Yeah.
So
yeah,
way
same.
back in the early '90s, they had like a pilot, and they had a different girl for the Yellow Ranger, but they had, the rest of the cast was all the same
Right.
of the original five. And then when they went to production, they got the girl that played Trini, and they changed her to Asian. Now, from everything that I've heard from the actors themselves, nothing about race was even mentioned or brought up when it came to the colors. It's just that's basically kind of how things fell in. Because you have to remember, they're trying to match up with the Japanese version.
Yeah.
Right.
And what's interesting about the original Power Rangers is the Japanese version, the Yellow Ranger is a guy. There's only one girl on the team, and that's the Pink Ranger. That's why the Pink Ranger is the only one that has what looks like a skirt
Yeah.
on the outfit. So, but they were creating their own mythos. They were using the source material, but they were creating their own mythos for what the Power Rangers are. And again, back in the '90s, I mean, you had Fresh Prince, you had The Cosby Show, you had Family Matters. Race wasn't an issue. Nobody. It's not like today where everybody sees everything in the color of race.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
and most people are trying to get back to that. They're like, we don't care. Just like don't change things unnecessarily.
Yeah.
You know, like this rampant thing that's been going on for ages where for some reason redheads are like removed from like when a comic book character is a redhead or whatever, when it comes to like the real life action they get changed, but I'm not going to go into that. So anyways, with regards to the Power Rangers, again, the original Black Ranger himself said that he didn't feel right, like it was a race thing or anything like that for him to be the Black Ranger and Trini to be the Yellow Ranger. It just like he was excited to have the black suit because he didn't want to be blue.
Okay.
Because he's
I
like,
hate the blue color, damn it.
he's
Leave
like,
me
it
black.
didn't. I didn't like how it looked. I didn't want to be. It didn't look good on me. So
Okay.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but going back to what I was saying with regards to this 2017 movie, yeah, marketing and everything like that. But again, when you reboot something like this, something that people grew up with, and you change it so dramatically from the source material that you're supposed to be recreating, that turns people off.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
mean,
especially if you
you're
don't do
right.
it right.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, take a look at freaking the perfect example. Look at '98 Godzilla. Look what happened when that movie came out and all the fans reacted to that. Like, what the hell is that thing? That ain't
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, like
Even
the trailers,
we're still mad about that. Well, not as mad as we are.
the
'cause
trailers brought
Godzilla's
people
still-
in, but then once they saw it, they were like, "This ain't Godzilla. This
Yeah,
is
they
Iguana
were
Man."
like, the F is that?
Yeah.
That's his cousin, right? That's not the actual Godzilla, right? He's gonna come in later and fight this thing, right? No, that's him. Oh, bullshit! And then left the theater. Yeah, but but I was looking it up just now when we were talking. So the budget for this was around 100 to 105 million dollars, minus the merchandising, and it grossed about 85.4 million dollars in the U.S. and Canada, and 57 million in other territories, rounding out to about 142.3 million dollars worldwide, which lost the studio about 74 million dollars. So not very good. Not very good.
Yeah. So so again, budget. Yeah. So that's why the sequel never came about. Now there's sometimes where the studio will feel extremely confident in something, and they'll, despite like a movie is failing, they'll still green light like a sequel or something like that if they think that they can pull it off. But typically, with this big of a failure, even if they were officially planning on it, they scrap it.
Yeah, no, it has a lot to do with money. Yeah, but honestly, thank you for that, DJ. That was actually pretty insightful. This is why this is a good thing to have a big Power Rangers fan like you on here, because I wouldn't have known any of this.
Yeah.
Kyle, would you have known any of this?
I probably did not know that until recently. I found that out when I watched the sideshow of the original Super Sentai compared with the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and I kind of oh, now I get it. It's all click, like DJ said, with I would say the change of genders on the Yellow Ranger, and mostly there are 4 guys, and 1 girl, but it could totally make sense because they want to get people to understand, they want to keep 2 girls, because I think women have the power to show the world that they aren't useless. They can really manage it through, where there are some guys that, even though they can handle things, but you know what I mean.
I think the reason why they made the Yellow Ranger a girl in America is because they just associated yellow with women more than men.
Yeah.
Right.
And also, there's the pink, also the color of pink as well. So that.
Well, I mean, that was obviously because
but even like
itself,
you said, even the Japanese one, that one was also female. So it's just but also the yellow we tend to associate with women as well.
Yeah.
But with the Black Ranger and the Blue Ranger, they kind of switch gender. I mean, no, they switch races instead of following the original. So with the reboot, they kind of did swap the races for the Blue and Black Ranger. I would say the Black Ranger is I want to say
he's Asian.
He's Asian.
Yeah.
Whereas the Blue Ranger is now African American, which I believe so. So it's interesting twist, but I kind of feel like they kind of not want to follow the formula. That's why I kind of figured.
Yeah, but well, let's actually get into the movie now. We've been talking about the past of the Power Rangers, not the actual talk about the movie. You see, people, this is how good the movie is. We're not even talking about the actual film. We're talking about the history of the Power Rangers because the history of Power Rangers is more interesting than this whole movie. But enough of that. So
Yeah,
we're just gonna make this basically a general discussion because I don't have any questions lined up for this, and Donald didn't send me any questions for this.
right. I think my
But,
question is like, what do you think about the introduction to the opening of the film, starting with Zordon and Rita as Red and Green Ranger back in the Cenozoic era?
Yeah. Well, I personally, personally for me, like I thought it was a pretty cool opening. Like I think too, like I don't know if it's part of the original series. I don't know if Zordon was also the Red Ranger original series. He wasn't. Was he?
So Zordon, I don't think he was ever officially a ranger.
No.
He, as far as the mythos goes, he was some kind of a fighter at some point.
Mm-hmm.
He was a warrior, but he was always kind of like a mentor.
Okay.
And I know he did stuff to try and prevent like the forces of evil, especially Rita, from succeeding and things like that, which is ultimately what led him in that mythos to being trapped in the tube. But it's been a while since I've really read into his backstory on that.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, no. Personally, for me, I thought the opening to this movie was actually pretty engaging. Like it kind of just starts you off like, bam, like they're already down. Zordon's like on his feet, on his like last legs, just crawling through the muck and everything. You just see the Yellow Ranger like die in front of him, and you're like, oh, okay. We're going this route with the Power Rangers. Okay, we're not starting off happy-go-lucky. We're getting pretty dark. So, and then Rita showing up too as a Green Ranger, which honestly was not that surprising because, like, when the film was being marketed, like I think almost everybody could guess, like, oh, she's probably the original Green Ranger because of the way they designed her. Which honestly, I think is actually pretty cool. I didn't mind that her being the Green Ranger.
Yeah.
So I honestly thought that was interesting.
I mean, it gives an explanation for why she has the Green
Yeah,
Ranger.
because that was also part of the original show where like they kind of leave that as a plot hole where you're kind of thinking like, wait, how does she have all that stuff? That's really Green Ranger.
Yeah,
plus
they never
two,
really explained how she got it.
That's
yeah. Plus two, doesn't the Green Ranger kind of start off like as an antagonist towards the team?
Yeah, in the original Power Rangers show, he came in for like a martial arts competition, and she kidnaps him, brainwashes him, and gives him the Green Ranger power coin, so that way he could destroy the Rangers from the inside.
Yeah, I figured. So yeah, but honestly, I thought it was a cool opening. But what did you think, DJ?
I thought it was a pretty cool opening as well. What's interesting is I think before this movie came out, there was a fan film that was made.
I do remember that.
That basically was a very dark dark storyline similar to this opening, like a very dark turn on where the Power Rangers were at and stuff. And I know that there was a lot of controversy with that when it came out because like Jason David Frank was like, hey, like Power Rangers are heroes and this is he was kind of resistant to it because it was like making them almost like bad guys kind of thing.
Okay.
That's true.
But with regards to this opening, I thought it was a really nice way to kind of establish how everything plays out. It explains why Zordon is in, not humanoid. He's stuck in the spaceship wall and everything. Like, and showing that, he was willing to sacrifice himself to protect the world.
Yeah.
To protect the galaxy and stuff. So, of course, when we first meet him, it's like it's like who the heck is this guy? Because that's not the Zordon I know.
Yeah,
Uh, you know, uh, but yeah, I was fine with it.
yeah. Because honestly, I like the fact that they made him a ranger at first, and they like had him and Reed on the same team. Because I mean, that kind of like formed a deeper connection between the two of them, rather than
Yeah.
just making them just like regular adversaries. Like, there's a history between the two of them, so like it
Right.
makes it a bit more dynamic and a bit more interesting
Yeah.
than
A little fun fact is that Zordon is actually played by Bryan Cranston, who's done some Power Ranger monsters in the past.
Yeah, I
So-
voiced them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I heard about that too when the movie was coming out. A lot of people were like mentioning that, so I was like, oh, that's a cool detail. I like that they brought him back from a franchise that he probably was like, oh yeah, I remember doing that. So
it's so funny that we have an actor in both the Power Rangers and Godzilla franchises. It's like so funny to see the same guy that we saw before he was actually in the Power Rangers movie.
yeah, but yeah, so speaking of the Power Rangers, let's actually talk about the Power Rangers. Let's actually talk about the main five. What did you guys think of the take on the Power Rangers in this film? Did you have any problems with them? Did you think they were well acted? Did you like which one was your favorite out of the five? It's kind of like a general like question. Like you guys can talk.
I think Zach was all right.
Yeah.
He was the only one that.
He didn't really get that much development to me. I felt like he was
No.
probably the one. Him and Trini, I feel like, are the ones that got shafted the most in this movie.
So Trini's whole story is that she's potentially a lesbian, and that's it.
Yeah, I was putting them together.
And it's like,
But then they don't really do that much with it. They just kind of mention it, and then they're like, moving on. Like, wait.
she's an outcast in her family because she likes girls as a teenage girl,
Yeah.
and so she, so that. But Zach's story, seemed the most genuine to what the original Power Rangers were. He's struggling to deal with his mom's situation, but he's doing what he can to take care of her.
Mm-hmm.
Like to me, he was the first one that actually seemed to be like, diamond in the rough kind of thing, like a heart of gold. Not saying anything bad about Billy, just the whole like, oh, I'm autistic, I'm on the spectrum. It's like, really? Like, just be a nerd.
Yeah.
That's all you had to be.
Honestly, I didn't mind it being on a spectrum. I thought it made it a bit. I thought it like
Me
changed
too.
things up a bit, and then like.
It's not that I really have a problem with him being on the spectrum. It's just the fact that he knows it and he tells everybody, like, I'm on the spectrum. Like, here's my badge of honor. Like,
True. Yeah.
That's what
they could have like. I think they should have just left it to audience to infer immediately, like, oh, okay, something's up with him. Like he's not a normal person.
Before he even said anything, like his mannerisms and
the way he was putting
people
his
were treating him,
yeah,
it was like, we get it.
we could see. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, this film has a problem with that. A lot of like explaining.
Yeah.
It does like the one cardinal sin that no film really should do, telling rather than showing.
Yeah, that was like, because they had the mannerisms down really well. Like, like you mentioned, the pencils, like organizing them and stuff like that. I was fine with that. Like, that's a great way to introduce the character. Okay, he's got quirks, whatever. We know he's supposed to be the smart one. So, he's, even in the original show, he was the oddball.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was awkward with women. He didn't, he didn't get things because he was always in the books. But that's the personality. Just let that come through.
Yeah,
that's all they had to do.
Well, that's not the only problem with this movie.
Yeah.
This movie has a lot of problems.
And then,
what about Kimberly and Jason too? I feel like those guys probably did pretty good, but in the original show, Kimberly was a cheerleader, whereas this one she kind of experienced. I don't know. I'm just like looking into the info. She's like
She was a cheerleader, but she got booted because of
Yeah.
the situation with the other girl.
Yeah.
Like cyberbullying, like that's I can definitely see because she's been cyberbullied a lot in this one. Whereas
Also-
Jason has like this ankle strap device on his I can't remember what it is, but
It's a
he
ankle monitor.
yeah, ankle monitor. Like he actually had that on his leg so that way they can track his record for any like criminal behavior that he's doing.
Yeah, because at the beginning, him and another kid brought a bull into a school locker room for the opposing team,
Yeah.
and then
Were
he
they
crashed his car.
bringing it in or were they taking it out? I thought they were trying to
No,
steal him.
they were bringing it in. He literally said, "Tie it to the bench and let's go."
Oh god.
Oh,
I thought they were trying to take it out. Was
No,
yeah.
they were trying to lock it in the locker room so that way when the opposing team came in, they
Yeah, and they call the bull beefcake.
yeah.
Yeah, but I thought that was a pretty good opening to like intro scene to Jason, especially
I
like
thought-
that.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, you can go.
I was just gonna say I got a little dizzy with the constant 360s.
Oh, that's funny because I actually like that shot. I was like, this is a cool shot. I like this. I like the 360. I like experimental stuff when they do with the camera. I like when they move the camera around.
Yeah, like the first once or twice was okay, but
Yeah,
then,
but you calm it down a tiny bit. Yeah, I get that.
like by the time he finally flipped over, I was like, "Oh, thank God, my
like,
head
oh
can
my
stop
God,
spinning."
No, it just filmed the entire movie like that, just entirely 360. Like, stop. Yeah, but honestly, yeah, I thought Jason. I honestly think Jason, Kimberly, and Billy. I think were probably the three strongest or most developed out of the five of them.
Because they were the main characters. They were the
Yeah,
ones.
exactly.
Exactly. It's what
Especially, like Jason and Billy. Like I actually kind of enjoyed their dynamic and their friendship with each other, and I kind of like the way
Yeah.
it formed and it built throughout the story, and especially like in that moment when Billy is brought back to life from Zordon, and you kind of have that moment where they both hug. Where Billy in the beginning of the movie, when he's hugged at first, he's like, "Please stop touching me," but then you have the moment where he himself hugs Jason, and so I'm like, I kind of like that. Like it's not anything groundbreaking, but it's pretty decent like character work in my opinion. So
Yeah.
I like that, and I also thought that honestly, I thought the relationship between Kimberly and Jason could have been developed just a tiny bit more because there actually is a deleted scene where in the sequence when Kimberly visits Jason in his room, they actually do kiss, but they cut it out for some reason. And then that's when the phone was going to go off. They were going to meet with the rest of the Power Rangers, the rest of the group. So I don't know why they deleted that because I'm like, oh, then that could have like developed a bit more, and that could have had
Well,
relationship, but whatever.
probably because what's funny is in the original Power Rangers they were supposed to be a couple,
Yeah,
and then they changed it when Jason David Frank's character Tommy Oliver came in and like just became so popular.
Mm.
Like right away, they decided to switch it to make it where those two had the chemistry. So I'm sure that that's probably why they originally had that in there, but may have cut it out because of the same like thinking. Like, oh, we're gonna have a sequel. We'll have Tommy come in and he'll be the love interest,
Okay.
and then it never happened. I don't know if that's true or not, but that would be my assumption.
It's possible, or just
Or
they just,
kind of really out of the place too.
yeah, or maybe just pacing, I guess. But I don't really know.
I don't think relationships quite happen in Power Rangers. They happen often, but they don't usually show that in the series because I think they want to make it more appealing to like superhero vibes to children.
Yeah, there has been at least a couple of relationships, like in the Power Rangers in space, the Yellow Ranger and the Red Ranger, like I think maybe towards the end they finally admitted feelings towards each other. I can't remember if they actually like officially did anything, but there was that build up throughout the whole season, like for it. And there's been other. I mean, they had Tommy and Kimberly in the original, and then when Kat came in, and took over as the Pink Ranger. Like her and Tommy kind of had a connection. So it's not out of the realm of possibility for the Rangers to have romantic interests with each other. It's just that's not the main focus. Like
Yeah.
they're just trying to focus on being heroes and stuff. And
Yeah. Fair enough. Like it's not kind of like a Spider-Man situation where like a lot of stories are built around his relationships.
yeah,
Power Rangers is built more on like the heroics and the theatrics and the battles and all that stuff rather than any like romance. So
and I mean, but they're still trying to showcase that they're living normal lives and stuff like that.
yeah, no, exactly.
I agree.
So,
Yeah. But let's talk about the suits actually now. Talk about the suits. When they actually
Yeah.
ones that we get to see in the last 5 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, when they actually do show up in the last 3 minutes. Okay, yeah, here, we'll talk about that right now. That's a problem I have with this movie.
Yep, that's
Power Rangers themselves show up way too late in the movie. Literally, I'm like looking on Netflix, like when I'm watching the movie, like at the timestamp. They don't show up until like the last 30 minutes of the movie. I'm like, wow, really that late? I'm like, wow, damn. And people and before people start saying like, well, it's an origin story, like it's building up the origin. I'm like, no, that's not an excuse. Look at Spider-Man. Look at Batman Begins. They're already superheroes like halfway through the movie, and that leaves the rest of the movie for them to actually be doing superhero stuff.
And even in the original series, like the first episode they get the power coins, and then in the second episode they transform. So
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
But now they actually have the Zeo coins in this movie. They're like kind of took that element from Power Rangers Zeo, which I don't think that's quite true.
no, those were the power coins. So they were focused on protecting the Zeo crystal.
Oh, right.
So
I almost forgot about that.
Yeah, but yeah, the coins are the power coins. Granted, they look like they could be Zeo crystals or Zeo coins because they have they have the colors instead of being like an actual metal coin. But yeah.
Yeah, but speaking about the suits themselves, honestly, like for me, I actually like them. I don't mind the design of the suits. I think the more alien aesthetic makes them pop out a bit more, and they still kind of have like the Power Ranger look too, with like the helmets and like the faces. Like to me, it still looks Power Ranger-y enough where I'm not like, okay, they're not. It's not too drastic of a change. They're a bit Iron Man, but they're not like. To me, they still work though. Like I think they still look pretty cool. I just think they showed up way too late in the movie for me to like give like a good opinion on them.
Yeah, I did like how they showed them forming on them.
That
was
cool.
a pretty cool
I did like
sequence.
that. Yeah.
And yeah, the design wasn't too bad. I mean, in the first live action Power Rangers movie, they had the plasticky look to them and stuff.
Yeah.
Like the
Like
stormtrooper
football
armor.
Yeah, or the football case you normally see them in the original show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they kind of almost look like a mix of Kamen Rider and Ultraman together, but they added a little bit like they came from space.
Yeah.
The one issue I did have was once they got into their Zords, their masks were just off.
Yeah, that was a problem too. I was
like
because they're doing that. Oh my god, they did that bullshit that they do in Marvel movies now, where they have like nanotech helmets. And I'm like, it started with this movie, man. I hated that.
And the reason for that is because too many of the actors are like, oh, I can't hide my face.
Yeah,
How am I supposed to emote? It's like, did you not see Dredd? Carl Urban
Exactly.
all the shame. Like he emoted with his face almost fully covered.
Yeah. Have you seen freaking Mandalorian? Look how many episodes Pedro Pascal had the helmet on and he didn't take it off.
Well, if that was actually him underneath.
Or Darth Vader, yeah. Like,
yeah. Well, that was.
Yeah, there's plenty of ways that you can emote without having to show a person's face.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
Like that's a problem too. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, DJ, you got a good point right there. I did not like the fact that they didn't really keep their helmets on throughout the rest of the fight. I'm like, I feel like you guys should have those on just in case one of your windows breaks.
yeah,
I think
and
that'd
then
be smart.
the other thing to kind of bug me too, the more I thought about it, was the way that they sat in the cockpit. I mean, it was in their cockpits they were like laying down.
Yeah, a little bit.
You know, it's like that's not like jet fighter style. That's like bobsledding.
Yeah, I kind of do wish too that we did get at least like a sequence of them in their actual suits fighting Rita, like one on one, like hand to hand. I think that would have
Yeah.
been awesome
Yeah.
because the little bit that we do get is just them getting their asses kicked by Rita because they're
Yeah,
not
and
ready. So I think it would have
civilian
been,
form.
yeah, I think it would have been cool to see them like in their actual suits actually like put up a good fight with her and show like, no, we are worthy.
Yeah,
But
that would have made more sense. Like have them fight her hand to hand first,
and
and then
then Goldar shows up, or
yep,
her actually bring up Goldar, and then
Right.
you get and then you could get the Megazord like versus Goldar fight.
Right.
that's another
And
another
speaking,
issue.
and speaking of Megazord, let's talk about the
Uh,
swords. Don't like that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Don't
the
any of
Zord
them.
design.
Okay. Yeah,
Like-
it's okay. Not
No,
really. It's just not very faithful as like the original Zords.
I didn't like them. I don't like the Zord designs. They look way too muddled and weird looking. Like, don't even look like the animal is supposed to portray. Like the Mastodon, that thing doesn't even freaking look like a mammoth. That looks like a dung beetle.
Yeah,
it had, like,
even the
6 legs.
Triceratops.
Yeah, even
Like-
the Triceratops too had 6 legs. I hated that. Like I saw the concept art they had for the Zord originally. I'm like, it looks so much better. It looks so much better than what they had in the actual movie. So I'm just like, why would you change that? Leave it. They're supposed to actually look like animals.
Uh,
The closest one is the T-Rex, but even then the T-Rex still kind of looks like garbage because the face just looks too
well,
cluttered.
they went with the like exoskeleton kind of look to it instead of like having the full plate armor.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, like I mean they weren't my favorite, but I wasn't when they were individual. It was like okay, like not the greatest, but it's alright.
Yeah.
But
then,
when they merge, I'm like, no, they're
yeah.
supposed to be in the same cockpit all together,
Tell,
piloting together.
tell us, DJ, what did you think of the Megazord?
Yeah, it just the fact that they're just like little pods throughout the body and everything, and again, still like laying down in there, and just it was like, what the heck is this?
Honestly, I don't hate the separate cockpit, but I don't like the design of the Megazord at all. Like, I don't
No.
like the fact that, like, what is wrong with them? What is wrong with them giving their robots and monsters faces?
Yeah,
They didn't give the Megazord a face. They don't give Goldar a face. I'm like, just give them faces. What's wrong with faces?
Exactly.
yeah. Both of them were just like skeletons with like
Yeah.
strips of flesh. on them.
Exactly.
Like, I think, oh my god, I think Goldar is probably the worst example of it too, because he just looks like garbage compared to like the original one. The original design of Goldar, I saw the original design. He looks awesome. There, he looks great. And then you look at this thing, you're like, what am I looking at? This looks terrible.
Yeah,
It looks like a mix of a Pacific Rim and Ultraman. I kind of felt like the Megazord looked a little too skinny to me. I
Yeah.
just wish they could have done a little bit better.
I was getting Michael Bay Transformer vibes from it, and that's not what I should be getting from the Megazord. I should be getting more Jaeger designs. You know we have a problem when the Jaegers in Pacific Rim look more Megazord-ish than the actual Megazord of the Power Ranger movie.
yeah.
Right.
I should have brought in, oh my god, I should have brought in the designers from Pacific Rim to design the Power Ranger movie, because then that would look awesome. But we didn't get that. So we got garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was some executive that was like, "No, we got to go with this hip new style." It's like,
Maybe, I don't know.
Nah, I think they should have dumped that and go with like the new concept instead of that.
Yeah. I will say, though, the fight between Goldar and the Megazord was alright. I did like that they actually kind of gave them weight and made the fight a bit slow.
Yeah.
Like you saw like how big of a wind up a punch they had to give and stuff like that. Like I actually liked that because I was like, okay, you're giving this an actual sense of scale and you're giving it weight, which is something Pacific Rim Uprising did not do. Because you had the robots jumping all around and everything and doing flips and kicks, and I'm like, okay, stop. Yeah, but yeah, the Megazord, the Zords, and Goldar were just bleh. Even the putties themselves, I was just
They look like goblins. Like
yeah, golems, or
yeah, they look worse.
yeah, exactly. So not very good designs for either of them, but let's talk about Rita. Let's talk about the actual main villain of this movie. What do you guys think of Rita?
I think she
was
looked
interesting.
Yeah, to say the least.
I would say I like the new concept. I kind of like, in my head, I kind of picture her transforming from her witch outfit to like the rebooted version, because I feel like that could have really worked. But that's just the filmmaker's decision. But I just don't. I really like her fighting style, but she's given that more of like a witch mixed martial artist to me. I think that's how they kind of like made her that way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they don't really. I mean, they explain that she has powers and stuff and that she can do things. But
Yeah.
They don't really project her as a witch. She's just
Right. Okay.
it's not like the original series where that is who she is. She's a witch. She's casting spells all the time and things like that. Like this, like they didn't really. I don't know. To me, they didn't. Like I know that she's a witch in the in the mythos for it and everything, but I didn't feel like that was what they were really projecting her as. She came across more as a lich.
Yeah.
Like sucking the life
Okay.
force out of people to empower herself.
Yeah, I can see that too. Because like, yeah, I actually did like the fact that they kind of like made her kind of had this like sort of like evolution, where she started off all decrepit and all shriveled up, and then like as she gets more powerful, she actually becomes more human looking.
Yeah.
I actually thought that was cool because I actually gave her like a creep factor too. Because like you look at the original Rita, you're not scared of her at all. Like you're just
No.
like,
Well, you got to watch your eyes around her.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, but, like with this Rita, like there's actually like with this Rita, I actually felt intimidated by her in a lot of scenes. I was like, oh, she's
I
creepy.
will say that
She's
she did a really good job of portraying evil and power.
Yeah, I think Elizabeth Banks was definitely having a lot of fun with like a lot of her screen presence.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could just see her like hamming it up, like she was just enjoying herself, and I feel like that came across in her performance, like in the movie. Like I thought it was really well done. Like it makes me laugh every single time. Like she asks about where the Zeo crystal is, and Billy tells her the Krispy Kreme, and she's like Krispy Kreme. Like she like whispers it, and she's like, "It's just a stupid place." And I'm like, "Oh my god, dude, this is stupid." But it's a good stupid because I was like, "This is Power Rangers basically," because Power Rangers is goofy, so it's just like it matches with it.
Yeah,
Like,
as far as her character portrayal and everything, like I didn't really have any issues with it.
Yeah, I thought it was
fun. She was a person out of time. She's waking up after thousands of years or millions of years into a strange new world, and so her not knowing, what's going on and stuff is fine. Like, I didn't have an issue with that. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like they kind of like took maybe the green element from. I want to say Maleficent, but she looks really intimidating in this movie compared to like I would say the original show. She's kind of like even though she's evil, but they kind of made her more goofy. But in this one, they made her more of like a serious, corrupted woman. In this one, where she wants to get, where she's targeting the Power Rangers, which is those kids, which that kind of what explains how her hunger for power that she requires.
Well, what's interesting too is like in the original Super Sentai, she was brutal. She like flat out killed people. She ripped buildings out of the ground to form her base and things like that. Whereas in the Power Ranger series, she like already had her base. You know, she
on
was
the moon
causing
and everything.
mischief and stuff like that. Wanted to rule the world, and for some reason was just focused on Earth. Like, you know, it's like, so I do appreciate that they did give her that darker tone and maliciousness to her. So
No, I agree. Like I really like that scene between her and Trini where like she just shows up like right above Trini and like just is threatening her, and you have them like bashing each other against the walls. And I actually thought that was a good scene because it showed just how like serious and how aggressive this version of Rita was.
yeah,
Like again, like it shows like how violent and how like psychotic she is in this movie.
and it was hilarious that none of the people in Trini's family came bursting in the door when all that was going on either.
Well, I think that before that scene happens, I think they showed him like driving out, going out the driveway because you see the car leave Trini's house.
Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't
Oh.
catch
I know it would have been funny if they did it if they were there, and then you're wondering like, how do you not hear any of that?
that. I know that. Like the whole time I
You
was
don't hear
watching
your
it, I
daughter
was-
getting tossed around in her room, going like, what the hell's happening? Yeah,
Okay.
but they kind of like show, but like in the opening shot of that scene, they show like the car leaving the driveway, so
Okay,
you're
I
inferring
missed
like,
that.
okay, she's by herself in the house, so that's why Rita attacked her.
Okay, that makes more sense then.
Yeah, no, it would have been a big plot hole if their family was still there.
I just
They didn't even recognize it. Yeah, no, that would
well, I mean, it could have been like, you know, she could have been like, and don't think your family's going to come and save you because I've put up a bubble of silence around us.
yeah, true. She does have magic, so you just could have come up with some
True.
BS to just say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but let's talk about Zordon.
And Alpha too.
And Alpha, yeah, of course, Alpha 5. Let's talk about them. I thought they were alright. Honestly, I don't really have any opinions on Alpha 5 or Zordon in this movie. I just thought they were okay. Honestly, I didn't mind Bill Hader's voice performance as Alpha 5. I actually thought he did fine enough. But like, they're just kind of like, they just came across to me as exposition machines. I just spouted the backstory of the Zeo crystals and stuff like that, and they don't really have that much else.
And an angry coach.
Yeah, especially with Zordon, because Zordon definitely comes off more as like a jerk or
Yeah,
just a grouch in this one. Which fair enough. They have like 11 days to save the planet, so time is of the essence.
True, but
Also-
again, it's a complete departure from the Zordon
Yeah.
from the series.
No, I'm not
Zordon-
saying it's a good thing. I'm not saying
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's an excuse. I'm saying that character wise, it makes sense why he would act that way, but it doesn't make it good writing.
No,
No.
'cause when you compare the original to this one, like the original, he's nurturing, he's assertive, but he's not trying to put them down. Like
Mm.
when they make a mistake, he's like, "What did you learn from this?" You know, like you need to be better the next time. You know, but in like a caring way, like
More of a
encouraging
father
them.
way.
Yeah. This one, it's like, I mean, it's revealed, he's like just trying to use them to be able to resurrect himself.
Yeah, makes
And
him a
it's-
bit more selfish.
Yeah, and it's like, that's not Zordon, that's somebody else, And then, like, Alpha 5, yeah, I was okay with him. I just wish the design was closer to the original than
Same.
it gave us.
Honestly, I didn't hate the design for Alpha 5. I actually kind of thought it was cool looking.
I don't know.
I-
It was just,
Thought it was pretty goofy, but I was okay with it.
Yeah,
yeah,
thought
I
the
didn't
goofy
hate it. I
worked
just,
though for Alpha 5 because he is a comedic character. So I think the goofy look to him works.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I get it though. It's like a pretty big departure from when he looks like in the original series.
yeah.
But I didn't mind it too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just flying saucer head with two big
Exactly.
for eyes. I'm like,
I didn't hate that.
But,
Again, I didn't hate the design for Alpha 5, but I can get it. Like, yeah, as like a longtime fan, you're looking at that, you're like, that ain't Alpha 5. What is that?
that's somebody
But
else.
he puts up a really good of a fight, depending on like I think whereas Alpha he's more like a self-caring robot, whereas this one takes action, whatever it means to defend himself.
Yeah, true.
So yeah, I will give him that.
Yeah, this one actually to me, like, like you're saying, Kyle. Yeah, good point. Like, this one could definitely put up more of a fight if the base came under attack rather than the older one, because like the older one gets taken out like that.
Yeah. Well, here's your power switch.
Yeah, exactly.
They were going for Yoda. That's why I kind of feel like that's what we're doing with Alpha.
True. Short
Don't
guy.
mess with the little ones.
Yeah, little short guy who can still kick ass. Yeah, a good point. Let's talk about our favorite scenes, if we have any favorite scenes in this movie. Like, what did you guys like? What kind of moments stuck out to you, or what scene did you find to be your favorite out of the in the movie?
I thought that the like them jumping the gorge, kind of discovering their powers and stuff. That after getting the coins and everything was pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The hand-to-hand combat after they finally got their suits on, I did enjoy that.
I agree. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see more of that.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see more of it
before they got into the Zords, and and then like we talked about, the opening sequence was pretty cool with Zordon and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's other stuff that is memorable, but those are kind of the main ones that I enjoyed.
Yeah. What about you, Kyle? What were some of your favorite scenes?
I like the fork fighting scene where Kimberly and Trini are trying to do. That was a deleted scene that was also cut from the film. I think there was a scene where Jason, David Frank, and Amy Jo Johnson were in the back, and they were like, "What the fuck are these girls are doing?" It's like I never see girl fight in a fork hand-to-hand combat, because this is something you never usually see before in this movie, and I think they kind of like nailed that one. I really wish they could have kept that, but it was pretty good. I like that hand-to-hand combat. It's kind of like what you kind of do with your friends, and I love the Jason, who's in his Red Ranger form, rescuing his father. That was a touching moment.
Yeah,
like it was like he loves his father, and he's trying to do everything that's best for him, and his father doesn't know that his son is a Power Ranger, which is a really nice moment. They definitely see.
They did show that he actually cared about him, because he was, trying to find him.
Yeah, during like the midst of the chaos, right. Like during the final battle. Like you see him driving, trying to look for Jason.
Mm-hmm. So I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Father being rescued by his son, which is a heartwarming touch. I think they really nailed it.
Yeah, I agree. I like that moment too. For me, yeah, I agree with a lot of your guys' takes. The fight, or like like when they first don the suits and they fight the putties, that was cool, because we are actually getting some Power Rangers action in movie once.
Yeah.
It would be nice if we got a little bit more of it. Again, we could have had a fight with Rita before we got the fight in the Megazord, because that's usually how they do things in the show. But we didn't get that. But the little bit we did get was fun. I enjoyed that. I did like the dynamics too, because like it felt like an actual Power Rangers episode where they were being all goofy and like throwing quips and like stuff like that. Like, heads up, like up. Like this is so much easier with armor and stuff like that. Like they like throw in a bunch of jokes and witty remarks, and that to me felt like more Power Rangers, because that's what they used to do in the show, in the old show as well. Like I remember them acting that way in the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie when we watched that. So I enjoyed that scene. I also think the strongest moment in the movie is probably like the fire, like the fireplace scene. Or like it's just them sitting around, just talking to each other and just sharing like their stories, because that to me is probably like the strongest character moment in the movie, where it's just them sitting down, just talking to each other. And I feel like the movie actually did a pretty decent job at like kind of building the dynamic and the camaraderie between them. Could have done better with it, but to me, I feel like that scene is like the strongest example of like what this movie could have been if given a bit more time to actually develop their characters a bit more and like do it. So like I like that moment. Another scene I did like too is the moment where like they're kind of guarding the Zeo crystal in the Zords and they're like holding the line, and you have Goldar just kind of like pummeling them. I really like that. I thought the music was really good during that scene too, and I like the emotion of just them going like, "Hey, if I die, I'm glad I'm dying right next to you guys, fighting alongside y'all." So I really, again, like I thought the emotion in that scene was really well done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but in terms of that, oh, of course, we also have to mention this. Serge was not here for tonight, but his favorite scene was the slap, which honestly, yeah, I agree. I love that slap. That was a solid slap too, man. Just that.
Yeah.
And he literally questioned, like, "Did you just slap me?" He's like, "Yes, I did."
Yeah,
Like,
that was pretty funny.
It was crisp, yeah. And they brought it back for Rita at the very end, where she jumped up the Zord. I don't know what she was thinking, and the Zord just goes, "Nah."
It's like a bug.
And then just backhands her into space, and you got Billy going like, "Jason, did you just slap her?" Like, pretty funny moment, and it's a short scene, but I really like that shot of Billy making the Zord kind of dance a bit, where he kind of got the Zord doing that like little funky motion. Again, goofiness, because I'm like, yes, there you go, goofiness. I want more of that. You guys are making this too damn serious.
What would have been nice too is if when they were fighting the putties, if all of them had been able to pull out weapons other than just Jason.
Yeah, I was wondering why the other ones didn't have any weapons at all. Because I'm like, don't the other ones also have weapons in the original show? Like, why is he the only one that just has a sword?
Yeah, like because
but then he just puts the sword back at the end of the movie. I'm like, no, keep that. Why are you putting it away?
Yeah, that was basically him saying like, we're gonna hang up the coin until we're needed again. That's So,
you're needed again right now.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, but yeah. One last thing I would like to mention is Krispy Kreme. Krispy Kreme, y'all. This movie had
product
a heavy
placement.
Yeah, talk about product placement, guys. You want to talk about product placement? The freaking Krispy Kreme in this is ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't think it did anything for increasing their sales.
No, it did not. They did sell some Power Ranger looking donuts, which actually looked really delicious. I did not have a chance to grab any of them when the movie was out, but it looked really good. But other than that, forget it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought that Krispy Kreme was just dumb. No, like again, it kind of matched the cheesiness of the series, but it just felt a little odd because I was just like, yeah.
Yeah, one place that they hang out is a Krispy Kreme.
Yeah, I'm like, you guys don't have anywhere else to go. That's it.
Right. I also heard that when Rita mentioned that others will come, I think she was mentioning about Lord Zed and the others. So
they were, because I remember them talking. I think for when they were talking about doing a sequel, I think Lord Zed was, the villain they were going to go with for the sequel.
Which would make sense.
Which I think would have been awesome, because I think I really love Lord Zed. I really love his design. So I think in this world he could look cool. Well, depends on who they would get to design him. He could have looked like absolute garbage, or he could have looked really cool. But again, I think they could have definitely had that missing factor of more Power Ranger screen time and them actually going hand to hand with Lord Zed. That would have been awesome. But again, we're not going to get a sequel anytime soon. So
right. I kind of really hope that they would kind of get the mix of the original, but with a mixture of Thanos, but with the gold skeleton over his body. But just, I don't know. But I'd rather have his silver skeleton in the original.
Yeah.
and I want him to make. I really wish they would make him a little bit more scary and terrifying, like he was in the show, where he was very scary, but then the parents were very concerned about their children being scared of Lord Zed, so they kind of toned him down when he married Rita in the original.
Big mistake.
Yeah, I did not like that choice.
Who cares about little kids being scared? Let them. You want the villain to be successful, make them intimidating. You can't just make all villains goofy.
No.
You gotta have a good balance.
I was even hoping Tommy would come in by the end of the movie, but they didn't really show the actor who would have played him.
Because I don't think they had an actor in place for him yet. I think they were still probably looking for him. So they just were like, he's coming. Tommy Oliver's coming.
Yeah, he's in detention.
Yeah, he's there. He's coming. We just don't have him, but he's on his way. And no. Yeah. Honestly, though, with how the Zords looked and the Megazord looked, I would have been probably dreading what the Dragon Zord would have looked like.
Yeah.
I would have do it. I'm like, no. If they messed with the Dragon Zord, I would have been pissed because the Dragon Zord is awesome.
Yep.
You cannot screw up the design.
Like, I can imagine if they were going to go for, like, say, Game of Thrones dragon or Smog from the Lord of the Rings version style, I would imagine people hating that.
Yeah, they would have made him look more Mecha Godzilla-ish than like.
Yeah.
Like if they took the route of like maybe like the design of Mecha Godzilla we saw in Ready Player One, but just enhanced it to like look like the Megazord, that would have been awesome. That would have been
great
design. But again, with how the Megazord was how all the Zords look in this movie with the Goldar and the Megazord, I would have been holding out any hopes for what the Dragon Zord would look like. I would have been like, oh god, please don't make it look like garbage. but
I'm not really like trying to throw a hate on this movie, but I just think people have their own different take on the Power Rangers. Like, I was also a Power Rangers fan. I was very young, and I had no experience with the series before I actually started to notice there were more. In, I think, a special episode with recapping with all the other shows in Dino Thunder. But they have Power Rangers, but they really didn't really have like the actual Zords. They kind of look very different than the original.
Mm.
It's similar to like what 98 Godzilla did, or I would say any other Japanese adaptations did with all the other movies.
Yeah. But then again, though, you deviate too much from the original series, you're not really going to get a lot of you're not really getting a lot of positive feedback towards this.
Nope. That's true.
Like what happened with 98, and then look what happened in this movie. Like, I don't really see a lot of old Power Rangers fans really clamoring for a sequel to this movie.
No.
I know this movie has its fans, but not a lot of them.
Yeah.
Plus, too, even I remember watching this with my dad and my stepmom when it came out because they took me to go see this in the theater. Even they were like, they didn't even like it that much. They were like, and nothing really. Even my stepmom was like, the only good scene was a slap, and then that was it. So that kind of just tells you even general audiences didn't really take it liking this movie either. So
the closest thing that we're getting to somewhat of like an official sequel to the original Power Rangers is the Legend of the White Dragon. Made by Bat and the Sun, which is Jason David Frank's last movie before he passed.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to come out to theaters this year. So.
Yeah, which would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah. Anything else you guys want to say about this movie, or should we just get to the rating?
Might as well wrap it up.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah,
so,
I would say it's okay, but it should have like maybe stick with the original design instead of updating them. Even though it may look like Power Rangers, but they don't look like Power Rangers to me.
Yeah. So what would you rate it then, Kyle? Like out of 5?
I would say I would give it a 3 out of 5 because just because they showed the Power Rangers suits just very late into the film, like you said, and the lack of development for the Zords, which they could have really gone a little better.
Yeah. What about you, DJ? What would you rate this movie?
I'll give it a 2 out of a 5.
Damn.
Man,
God.
It was like, I don't hate the movie,
Yeah.
but being a big fan of the original Power Rangers and Super Sentai, and having like watched from when the original Power Rangers started, you know, it, the changes in the characters and the designs and abilities and things like that, it's just too much.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So
For me, again, I'm not a big Power Rangers fan, so a lot of this movie didn't really like affect me as much as like say you, DJ, or like any other like longtime fans. So I'm kind of with Kyle on this, where I would give it like a 3 out of 5. It's not a bad movie. I don't think it's god awful. I think there's a lot of worse movies out there, and like a lot of, and aside from all the deviations, I think they still kind of like still sort of like respect the original source material. But like you're saying, yeah, they definitely like made too many changes. I kind of upset fans a bit.
yeah.
But in the end, I thought the movie made me care enough about what was happening, where like I didn't hate my time watching it. I thought I just had a decent time with it in general. So
Yeah.
I agree with 3 out of 5.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
I have the movie on Blu-ray, so
yeah, I honestly, if this movie did get a sequel, I probably would have been I rooted for this movie to get a sequel, because I think the problems that this movie had could have been fixed with the sequel. They could have had more
Yeah.
Power Ranger screen time. They could have developed the characters even more. They could have had Tommy Oliver. They could have had Lord Zed. Because I think they would just have to listen to the fans, or they would have to like, yeah, I think if they did a sequel, they would just have to adhere to what the fans like complained about, or what general audiences didn't really like, and
Yeah.
sort of add that to any like follow-ups. But again, we didn't get that. We just have this movie on its own, and on its own, it's a fine enough time. Not bad. It's not great. It's just, it's okay. Yeah, but that is our review, folks, for Power Rangers 2017. An okay movie. We're giving it an eh.
Yeah, go watch the original Power Rangers movie from '95.
Yeah, hell,
yeah,
freaking go watch Guyver. You know what? I got better time for y'all. Go watch Power Ranger, no, Super Sentai, and Kamen Rider the movie. That was a way better movie than this. I also watched that this week. So yeah, but before we close off here, DJ, we'll give you some time to promote.
Okay,
free publicity.
thank you. Yeah, but you're already starting. So yeah, as Remy was mentioning, tomorrow night we're going to be reviewing on Dragon DJ Reviews, which is on Rumble and on YouTube.
Yes.
So
And
easier
also,
to find. So I guess I should just get rid of that on Rumble part. Anyways, so we're going to be reviewing the movie Super Sentai versus Kamen Rider. I forgot what the rest of the name is, but
all right.
they always have these like super long names.
I don't know, Japan.
But yeah, so we're going to be talking about that tomorrow, and looking forward to that conversation. And we talk about anime and tokusatsu shows and movies and series and stuff. So definitely worth checking us out. Friday nights, 7 p.m. Central.
Yep.
So
Other than that, we're the Sci-Fi Nerds. I'm Remy.
DJ.
Kyle.
All right. And have a good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us. And so long.
Auf Wiedersehen.